Precious Metals Summit 2018 here in Zurich, and with me here is now Metallic Minerals, and Greg Johnson, the CEO of the company, wants to give us an update. Greg, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to have you here. Thanks for taking the time.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah. I think it's approximately 15, 18 months ago we met last time, I have the feeling. And maybe you can give us a short rundown. What were the significant milestones you have achieved in 2018?
Well, it's been an exciting period for us. As you recall, we just got the company started in mid-2016. We've been putting things together, and very quickly we've established a large position in the famous Keno Hill Silver District, one of the highest grade silver districts in the world, alongside of our neighbor, Alexco.
Yeah, exactly. That's just
last year was our first, kind of inaugural exploration program. We developed a whole bunch of targets from that and had some really good follow-up work. This year we've hit the ground running. We've got 9 drill-ready targets on the ground. We've got 20 earlier stage targets. So it's really coming together nicely, demonstrating that this ground that we've picked up in and around these operating mines with this long history of production, that we're making discoveries and we're advancing projects to the drill stage. And especially coming into 2019 with the results from this year's program, we should have some exciting things to follow up in terms of growing these things, advancing them, and turning them into resources.
Super, perfect. So maybe can you elaborate a bit on some drill highlights you had in 2018? What was, let's say, some positive
absolutely.
stuff?
Well, Keno Hill is famous for its very, very high grades. In fact, the new Birmingham discovery that Alexco has recently announced, which is now 50 million ounces, it's probably one of the best new silver mines in the world that they're taking into production. People were blown away with assay results over 1,000 grams per ton. Well, we see that throughout the district. So several of our drill holes last season were basically over 1,000 grams of silver per ton. Plus additional value from the lead and the zinc. So it's an area that these are massive sulfide style veins. They occur across the district, very high grades, relatively modest tonnages because of those high grades, which means your capital cost to build these things is modest. Plus you've got power, you've got roads, all the things you need to build a mine in this.
That would be my next question, because I mean the Yukon is so large, and you're like 35, 40,000 people living there, and probably a million mooses. But what is about the infrastructure? Because I think you have some significant advantages there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. If you're one of the projects which we are that are right along the road corridor, we've got grid power available. These are state maintained roads, which means that we're basically benefiting from that excellent infrastructure. So everything we would need to build a new mine is already there. Plus you've got an operator in the district with a mill and mine that's already in place. So there's even a potential that if you find something right at the surface, right on a road, you might even do something directly with that next door operator, fast tracking that resource into production.
Fantastic. So what is then now, let's say, the game plan for 2019? Because I hear a little bit from you, okay, when we discover the right stuff and we discover enough, let's say, tonnage, and the grades are obviously fantastic, like a production scenario for the future is possible, right?
Yeah, so our objective is to move these encouraging target areas into resource stage as quickly as possible. And then because they are on the road, we can look at the best way to advance those. So our effort in coming out of this season's work, which we expect to have very strong results, should reemphasize the number of targets we have. And some of these are already starting to move into that resource development stage. And going into 2019, what we'd see is a more drill-intensive program to advance those, understand how large they might be, and to really, set the priorities.
Okay, so could we imagine then for 2019 a first resource estimate, right?
Well, we might. We already have enough together in 3 of the targets that we've got kind of an initial internal mineral inventory. So we just want to get that to a critical enough size that you start to talk about it in terms of a 43-101. But we're very encouraged that we have already surface values that have mineable grades over mineable widths, shallow drilling that indicates that those are continuing to depth. And now we're just trying to figure out how large they are and what the next area of focus is. But it's an exciting time for sure.
Fantastic. So how deep have you drilled, and have the drills ended in mineralization, or was it the end of the hole?
Most of our holes are less than 200 meters deep. Many of them are less than 100 meters deep. So this is very shallow mineralization. Surprisingly, there's been 200 million ounces of past production, 100 million ounces of current production in the district. So 300 million ounces. The deepest mine is only 300 meters deep.
Wow.
The geologic comparison that I look at as an explorationist for the Keno Silver District is the Coeur d'Alene District. They have just sunk a shaft to 3 kilometers depth. and they have produced over 2 billion ounces. We see that type of potential in Keno as we explore along the trends, as we go deeper. There's no indication at this point that mineralization won't continue to depth from these relatively shallow depths. And in fact, the deepest drill hole is this recent Birmingham resource, I think 450 meters deep only from surface. So that means low capex to build these things, and it makes them relatively straightforward to explore.
Absolutely fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about another future, I would call it. So that's the metallic group of companies. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit, because
That's right,
it looks a little bit you're moving now also into copper business.
Yeah, well, there's some benefits. We've got, so Metallic Minerals, the silver company, is part of a group of companies called the Metallic Group, which includes Metallic Minerals on the silver side, Group 10 Metals on the platinum side, which has acquired some very exciting ground next to the Stillwater mines in Montana.
That's,
and then our
Sibanye
third,
Stillwater,
Stillwater. And then the third company, which is a brand new company that we're just setting up, is a copper-focused exploration company called Granite Creek Copper. It's also in the Yukon, next to Western Canada's highest grade copper deposit. So similar kind of story, building high quality ground positions during the low part of the metal price cycle, putting the teams together, that's right, and advancing these so when the markets turn, we're prepared to really grow things, advance resources, and create value.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I mean, this world really needs a lot more copper, because the e-mobility is rising, as I always say in the interviews, and we saw the sale volumes for this year. I mean, we are now approaching 5.2 million e-cars, plug-in cars in the world, and we all know the difference is at least 60 to 70 kilograms per car. Difference, higher copper usage, and we do not have the large mines. So we need to explore, we need to develop new copper projects, because it takes so long to bring them into production.
Absolutely. And when you look at the other two companies, silver, right now, silver, it's hard to find good silver. Silver demand is growing. Silver is very cheap relative to gold if you look at the silver gold ratio.
Way too cheap,
Platinum is another great example. Platinum is below gold price. It hasn't been at those levels historically ever. So it's very, very cheap. And with the ongoing supply concerns and falling supply out of South Africa, which is the world's biggest producer, we think a North American platinum project sitting right next door to the highest grade producer in Group 10 Metals is going to be an exciting story as well.
No, fantastic. And I mean, also Sibanye Stillwater will be number 2 in the world for platinum and palladium from this year onwards, right?
That's right.
With all the projects and taking Lonmin over and so on. But this is, I think, a fantastic location. It always helps a lot, because they need also maybe future supply for their production. Last question. You have a lot of drills going on. You have a big work program. So what is money in the bank?
Yeah, so right now we raised a little bit of money this summer. So we've got about $1.5 million in the bank as of our last quarterly. We've got $1.8 million in the money callable warrants. So we'll be talking with those investors about bringing that money in early. And the other two companies, likewise, they've got lots of warrant money that they can bring in. And of course, the new offering on the copper company that's underway right now.
Okay, super. So you're in good shape.
We're in good shape moving in. It's a challenging market for sure.
So let's raise the metal prices. Everything is fine.
Well, but it's a good opportunity. People who are already existing investors, they may want to increase their ownership. People who are just looking at the space, this is an excellent time. Values are still low. A great time to look at high quality names. Take a little bit. Maybe you don't take all that investment at once. Maybe you spread it out a little bit. But right now, I think it's very encouraging where we are in the market and high quality names. I think looking a couple of years out, who are doing good work, there's a good chance that you're going to see a gain on your investment.
Definitely. Well, Greg, thank you very much. Thanks for the update. And keep it going, I would say. We want to see a nice 43-101 resource.
That sounds fantastic.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank
you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Greg Johnson, the CEO of Metallic Minerals. And you heard it, the company is running on full throttle. The drills are turning. And also for next year, they want to do the first 43-101 resource. And they are also expanding with their group of companies into the copper sector. So I suggest check out the company. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye from Zurich.